Hey friends, welcome back to my podcast. Very, very excited to be joining you here today to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is healthy living. Now, we've been doing kind of a lot of topics on that lately. And the reason for that is because I just wrote a new book called A Christian's Guide to Healthy Living. So we have a lot of topics to talk about coming out of this one topic. And I think it is a very important time to talk about this. So if you're feeling a little bit burnt out on this topic, or maybe you're not super interested, I encourage you to listen along today because there's some really good lessons to pull from this. And the thing is, the reason why this is important is for a few reasons. Okay. Number one is that healthy living is important. When we look at our world today, when we look at how toxic everything is, and we look at the rates of sickness and diabetes and heart disease and cancer and all of these other things. I mean, asthma, everything. There's so many things that we're faced with today, and these numbers are continuing to skyrocket. It is important to look at and say, how can I care for my family well when all of these things are happening? How can I maybe help my children to not have as many of these health risks in the future? How can I help my own current hormones and my energy levels and my husband and all these things? So it is important. It's so important. It's something I'm really passionate about. But there is a trend also that I have noticed in the last couple of years where healthy living, non-toxic things, all these topics have become really popular. Finally, people are really waking up and, realizing all these things. And because of that, now there's a lot of stress around these topics because there's tons of influencers putting out great information. I've learned a ton of things. It's great to come across different articles and things online that you're like, oh, I never thought about that. I never thought about what was in my rice or whatever. It can be really helpful, but it can also be ridiculously overwhelming and scary and anxiety filled, especially when we don't have the budget to go change everything that we want to, or we've strategically switched to using a certain thing. And then all of a sudden, everybody on the internet is saying now that that's actually terrible. And it's a terrible thing we've been using now for 5 years. And so I get really passionate about this topic because on the one hand, I do think it's really important. But on the other hand, we have to trust the Lord in this process. And those two things have to go hand in hand. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a 101 guide to healthy living. How do you get started or make progress on healthy living goals without it becoming an idol in your life and without it becoming ridiculously overwhelming? So I have got some baby steps for you and how to think critically. Now, all of this really is directly taken out of my new book called A Christian's Guide to Healthy Living. You can actually pre-order the book right now at findingjoybookstore.com. I think by the time this episode goes live, those pre-orders are going to be just about over. And then I don't think we will have the physical book for sale again until Christmas. So this is a good time to grab it. And in this book, we talk about all of that. We talk about God's sovereignty, how we can trust and rest in the Lord. We don't have to make this a stressful, anxious thing, but then also what are some things that really can have a big impact on our family. And you can see at findingjoybookstore.com, you can see the table of contents. You'll see we go through switching out cleaning supplies and baby items and, really kind of just a step-by-step guide for how to determine priorities for your family when it comes to healthy living, because we can't all do it all, and baby steps for each of those. So really, really practical manual, but very Christian. Like, how does God and his sovereignty play into this? And we have to keep that as a constant reminder. And so the reason I wrote the book is I didn't see any other book out there that was doing this, that really you need to pair both of those together if we were going to have a Christian response to healthy living and to also keep anxiety in check and all of that. So you can go check it out, pre-order it at findingjoybookstore.com. But now we're going to jump into this, okay? So what I want to start with is a chat on baby steps. Okay, if you guys have been around here a long time, if you listen to my podcast, you're going to go, oh no, Jami's talking about baby steps again. Baby steps are the one and only key to changing anything in your home and in your life. And especially when we start talking about healthy living, it is essential that we focus on baby steps because there is too much. Now, I've been on my healthy living journey for like 12 to 13 years now. It's actually been a long time. I've made so much progress. So much of this stuff is just second nature to me now. However, I have a long list of things that I would like to eventually switch out. I was just talking to a friend last night at her house. She was refilling her water purifier and we were chatting and I said, yeah, you know, I really one day would love a whole house water filtration system. And she's like, I know, me too, for showers and baths. And, you know, we were just talking about that both of us who tend to be very on the crunchy side. There's so many things that either, you know, are impractical in this season of life, there's not a good solution for, or often are just too expensive for right now. And so we don't have filters on our showers, even though that's something I would love one day. And I'm just not going to stress about it in the meantime because we do the best we can with what we have and we trust the Lord with the rest. And so what this really boils down to for me are baby steps. How can we make changes in our house with small incremental changes that over time will add up to big change, but we have to do it slowly. We have to do one small thing at a time. And that can feel scary when we feel like we do need to change absolutely everything at once, but that's where we trust the Lord. That's where that process comes into play, where we trust the Lord in that process. So what I encourage you to do when starting out with healthy living topics is to think critically about where you want to start. And often, I think this is the same principle in anything in our life where we really struggle to get going, to get started. So a lot of times when people talk about wanting to cook more from scratch, they talk about it for a long time. They say, I want to make these changes. However, it feels really, really overwhelming because how do you go from buying frozen pizzas, frozen burritos, packaged processed foods, cream of chicken soup? How do you go from that to suddenly looking at a cookbook or an Instagrammer or someone who makes 100% of everything from scratch, including pasta? How do you reconcile that and go, well, I want to move that way, but I don't even know where to start because the way they look, the way they do, the way I can't do that today. And that's the truth. It has to be incremental baby steps along the way. I had no idea how to cook when I came into marriage. And so my version of cooking was putting a bunch of processed foods together. And I thought I was cooking, you know, get your crock pot out and dump in a bunch of different processed foods and turn it on. That was cooking. And now I cook most things from scratch. I cook a lot of things from scratch and my kitchen looks completely different. And people go, wow, I could never do that. Well, you can, but you got to put 12 years of effort in, right? It's not something that happens in the blink of an eye. It's not going to happen overnight. And the same thing with healthy living. When we're looking at switching out, I mean, food is a great place to start, but when we're looking at switching out personal care items, shampoo, conditioner, face wash, when we're looking at baby items, laundry detergent, look at water, like we were just talking about, there's so many different topics. And what often happens is you get so overwhelmed thinking I have to change everything in my life that it can start to feel like that if you don't take the plunge and change everything within 24 hours, like you might as well not start. You might as well not even try because you can't do it to the full maximum. And especially with healthy living topics, that is the craziest, most wrong way of thinking. Because when we look at healthy living, there is definitely something called like our toxic load. And we cannot control everything in our life. So when you step outside your front door, when you're out in pollution, when you're next to 5G towers, when you're, kids get handed a snack at church, like there's so many things that are not within our control that we, just leave those to God. Fully trust the Lord in those things. You can't control them. But at home, there are a lot of things that are under our control. And so if we were to look at every single one of these things in our home and add up the effect of every single one, it adds up to a lot. So when you look at your shampoo and conditioner, when you look at your toothpaste, when you look at, you know, go down the line of every product you use every day, every food particle you're putting in your body, that all adds up to a really, really big toxic load. And I'll tell you right now, let's stop and say you'll never be 100% toxic free. Your home is never going to be perfect. Your husband's going to hate the deodorant you buy him. Let him use the deodorant he wants. Okay. This is not about perfection and having this perfectly 100% non-toxic home. It's not going to happen anyway. And then you're going to turn around and something you thought was perfectly non-toxic all of a sudden isn't, or people are disagreeing. A lot of times it's more that people disagree, but you're never going to achieve that. So let's just look at ways that you can reduce that toxic load. Let's look at, oh, I found a great shampoo and conditioner that our whole family loves. It's an easy swap. We're going to use that. Great. That's one great thing. We're going to look at laundry detergent or dishwasher detergent. You know, look for a few different ways that you can start to cut things out or change things up. And every single swap makes a difference. And that's what we want to look at. So think critically about where you want to start in this progress. No, what am I trying to say? In this process, that's the word. Sorry guys, baby brain. Baby eats all my brain cells. We are getting very close to baby time. Okay, so think really critically about where you want to start in this process and start there. Start with that one small thing. So when I started on my healthy living journey, you know, I had started with food before this. I really started realizing processed foods. I started reading ingredients, trying to start, you know, it was a long road over several years of trying to figure out what could I cook and what can I get? And, you know, this was several years before. So then 2012 was pregnant with my first set of twins, our first babies. And I remember getting this whole box of clothing from my aunt. It was so sweet. Opened it up and it was all these matching outfits, all these newborn outfits. It was so sweet. And I was still months away from having the babies. But of course I was excited. I wanted to get them washed and hung up in their closet and all ready. And I looked at this package of baby clothes and I went, oh, do babies need different laundry detergent? Do I just use our laundry detergent? I don't know. So I took to Google, found out, oh yeah, like all the major laundry detergents have baby detergent lines. And so I guess I need to get that. And then I started thinking, well, I'm currently pregnant with them. Does it matter what laundry detergent I use? And it was really kind of one of those moments where I was already kind of sliding into really starting to be aware of ingredients and things. But it was kind of a light bulb moment for me that even something like laundry detergent could have an effect. And so I started doing research for laundry detergent, and that was just like, it blew my mind, the crap that they put in laundry detergent and how toxic it could be. And so just that one little thing over the course of that next year really changed a lot of our personal care items, because then once I ran out of our whatever current laundry detergent we were using, I switched to a healthier version. And once we ran out of our dish soap, I switched to a healthier version. But we had no money back then. Like I couldn't go out and spend, I couldn't do it today. I can't go out and spend $1,000 and switch out everything in my home all at once. I used the rest of that laundry detergent. And then when it was out, I researched and figured out then a better one to buy. And that's the way you want to do it. Is if you are blessed with $1,000 to go change a bunch of stuff out, praise God, go do that. That's wonderful. But if you're feeling like I can't make all these changes, whether it's financial or just I don't have the time to research these different changes, I don't have, the capacity to do this, start with one small thing at a time. Start with laundry detergent. Start with something small. So for a lot of people, this intro is food. And I personally think food is a really great place to start, because I do think laundry detergent, especially if you're struggling with like eczema, you've got skin issues, allergies, things like that, laundry detergent might be like the number one place you want to start. But the things that you're ingesting, that you're taking into your body, those are the places that I really wanted to start with, because it felt like it's making the most impact. So baby steps with food, starting to figure out how to swap out some processed junk food into healthier versions. It doesn't mean you need to switch everything up on your family. If your family loves having pizza every Saturday night, learn how to make it yourself. Maybe that's your one big swap that you're going to work on, is nailing like the perfect pizza that everybody in your family is super excited about. If your kids love chicken nuggets, you can make homemade chicken nuggets, like, or just find a healthier version. There's a lot of things that you can do. And it doesn't have to be. Maybe you still buy your frozen chicken nuggets, but you're going to do other switches. Like, that is what we're talking about, is working on those baby steps. It's not about perfection. It's not about having everything perfect. It's working on baby steps. Another great place to start is swapping out cleaning products. There's so much that goes into our lungs that, you're not ingesting it, but in some ways you are with breathing it in, especially depending on if you have certain things in your family, working on, like we said, asthma or eczema or kind of any of these things, but also imbalanced hormones. Like, those are all affected by endocrine disruptors, which are in a lot of these cleaning products. Cleaning products are a great place to start because you can often find even cheaper solutions. You can find way more natural, way healthier, cheaper solutions that work even better. And there are some really expensive natural brands out there. I'm sure they work great, but with cleaning, you can really, like, all across the gamut, you can find super cheap, super healthy stuff that works great. And so cleaning products is one that I think is a great place to start, because you can also simplify your routine a lot. And you don't need 12 different cleaning products. You can get away with 1 or 2 and they're going to do everything. So I think cleaning products is a great place to start. Personal care products is another one. This one can be a little bit harder, I think, because trying to find a clean shampoo and conditioner, it's hard to sort through which ones actually are healthier. And then, everybody's trying to sell you on their like $70 shampoo and conditioner. And it just can be a little bit harder to weed through and find just some like natural ones that are super simple and easy. In the book, we do talk about ingredients to look for, how to kind of weed out. There's so many companies now that say, oh, we have healthy shampoo and conditioner. We have healthy this or that. And like 70% of them are not even healthy. So it can be really hard to kind of weed through the claims and what they say with actually knowing ingredients. And so we do talk about that in the book, is how do you actually, sort through. I do share sometimes some of my favorite brands for certain things, but for the most part, I'm just sharing how do you look at a brand and decide, is this non-toxic enough? Is this healthy enough? Is this, whatever. So cleaning products, household, personal care products. That's a good one. One that I went through, like, I want to say like 8 years ago. No. Like 6 years ago, was finally figuring out, healthy makeup. That was one that for a long time, it just felt really overwhelming. And it was like one of my last big areas of switching out. Finally found this brand. Super clean, super healthy. Makeup was amazing. And I've been using it ever since. And this last like year or two, they discontinued their makeup line. So when they discontinued it, I bought everything I could at like their cheap discounted rate. And I am now at the point of running out. Like, I'm almost at the end of my foundation. And so I'm at that point again of going, okay, who's truly healthy? Because there are so many, especially MLMs. There's a lot of MLMs that will say they're super healthy makeup and they're not. And again, there's always a line. Like, maybe you have found a makeup you really like that's cleaner. It's not completely clean and not non-toxic, but it's cleaner and you like it and it works well. And you decide that's good enough. Like, this is not about perfection, being perfect all the time. It is not. Or we will drive ourselves crazy. Okay. So there's times where you find balance, where you make concessions. And you're like, I can afford this brand. So this is what I'm going to get. Great. But I'm at that point. So I had ordered from a really great, like, natural company. I had ordered a foundation, like, sample, like with a couple different colors, and their mascara, because I was out. I haven't tried the foundation yet, but I don't like the mascara. I don't like it at all. It does not just work well for me. And I'm sure some people really love their mascara. So like, it can be hard sometimes because I don't have a huge budget. Like, I don't spend hardly any money on makeup. Like, I have makeup. I know you're not supposed to. I have makeup I've been using for years. Okay. My eyeshadows, they last, I know, whatever. You're supposed to get rid of them. I just use them forever till they're gone. Okay. So I don't ever spend money on that. And so it's just not an area that's a big priority for me. I like having a couple of items that I like. But it is hard because you take this leap of ordering a new foundation and then you hate it. And I'm like, well, I got to use it all because it was $30 or whatever, you know? So it can be difficult sometimes, you know, especially with something like makeup or skincare or hair products where you are definitely a lot pickier usually in certain ways. And so really just kind of sorting through, and that's kind of just the process you have to do. So I'm using that mascara. I don't like it. It's not my favorite. I'm going to use it till it's gone, and then I will try a different brand. And that just is sometimes what you have to do. And I've done research and I thought, oh, the brand looks great. Still think it's a great brand. I think their products are great. I think I'd like to try, I'm excited to try their foundation. I think I'll like it. But that mascara is one that like really differs, right? Like in what people are looking for. And, I didn't love it. And so I will try again with another company. So that's a lot of times is what we have to do. Thinking through your water. Water, I think, has a really big impact, even though it's something we don't give a lot of consideration to. It's water. But water has chlorine. It has pharmaceuticals in it. It's got a lot. Fluoride, depending on if your county puts fluoride in the water. And we drink it all day, every day. We're cooking with it. We're putting it in our coffee. And so water has a really big impact. A water filtration system, whether you get a countertop one or like a whole house one, that's my dream. They are an investment. They're a big investment. So it's not maybe something you can necessarily do right away, but that is something to think through that can have a really big impact on your home. Research, you know, water filtration systems. We talk about those in the book. Baby products, products for your kids, supplements. There's so many areas that you could deep dive into, but take it one thing at a time. One thing at a time. That's what I really want to encourage you. And if you are thinking, oh, Jami, I don't even know where to start. Like, how do you even start to research what is healthier makeup? Because we don't want to just believe the claims that these companies say. There's so many people who are like, oh, I use this amazing natural brand. And it's like, oh, it's not though. And that's fine. But be aware of what you're using. It's not that we have to have everything perfect all the time. I totally make concessions. There's times where we use things, you know, you make concessions, but be aware of what you're buying. And so in the book, we really do break down, how do you research those things? How do you sort through claims of a makeup company? How do you start to look for the ingredients when the ingredients all look like gibberish? No matter if they're healthy ingredients or not, a lot of times with makeup and skincare and stuff, you're like, I don't know if that's a chemical or like a naturally occurring element. Like, you know, like it's just, it can be difficult. So we definitely dive into that in the book if you want to check it out. And then once you've narrowed down, like I want to, you know, I want to switch out my laundry detergent. What I want to encourage you to do is start your baby steps list. So you want to start with the most critical. So what is it in your life that's the most critical thing right now? You have a baby with eczema, start there. That's a great place to start, right? You know, if you have a child with eczema, start with switching out laundry detergent. Get them organic cotton sheets. Look at the food that they're eating. There's a lot of things with eczema that are internal. There's a lot that you can do. And so start with that. You're going to deep dive that, and you've already got a list going. So you're already, you know, number one thing we're going to try is switching out a laundry detergent. Okay. So for this month, that's what I'm going to worry about. Next month, I'm going to worry about researching maybe some organic cotton sheets for them. Third month is supplements that can help. Or, you know, you can make this into a to-do list by breaking it down in that way. Instead of thinking, I have to change every single thing in my life right now, how do you break that down into baby steps? And now I will encourage you. There are seasons, there are sicknesses, there's things that happen where you really do have to change a lot at once. I've shared this story many times, but my son dealt with like really severe leaky gut. And we had tried for a long time certain supplements and trying different things and things that, you know, other people are like, oh, I just tried this one probiotic and my kid was healed. We tried it. And finally we got to the point where we targeted down what the problem was. And we started this massive leaky gut diet for him. And it was supplements, and it was the most restrictive diet in the world. And we just had to jump in with both feet and do it hardcore because it's what we had to do. And so there are times where you just have to trust the Lord in that process as well. The rest of us were probably not eating quite as clean during then because I had so much focus on his diet, and that's what we had to do. And so there's times where you have to do that. But for the most part, when we're just kind of in daily life, we want to look at how we can change these things out slowly and with baby steps. So then when you've got your most critical area identified, write down maybe 3 to 5 things that you'd like to start with to change out. Like we just said, laundry detergent, organic cotton sheets, whatever that list is for you. And then you've got your list. I would say don't get too overwhelming. Don't say, well, we need to change our diet and list out 400 things you want to change. Start with 3 to 5, okay? Not very many. And you're going to pick your first and you're going to start researching that one item. So we're not worrying about the rest of it all right now. We're going to trust the Lord in that process. And we're going to start with that one thing that we can actually make change with today. Because if we're going to sit there and worry about this entire list, it doesn't make sense because we can't work on that and make progress on it today anyway. So don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the rest of the list. We're going to start with one thing and make progress on that. So you want to figure out then, you're going to take your one item now and you're going to figure out what you need to do to make progress on your one item. So maybe it's something as easy as researching a new laundry detergent, which that can take a while, but that's fairly isolated. You can do that. And then buying a new one. But maybe it's something harder like learning how to bake your own bread. So if you're buying a new laundry detergent, your step number 1 is research laundry detergents. Step number 2 is buy one. Step number 3 is try it. Like your list is pretty confined. If it's something like making your own bread, you're going to have to get a little bit more critical. You're going to have to say, well, I need to figure out first what is healthier bread. I need to do some research. I need to watch some YouTube videos. I need to buy Jami's cookbook. I need to buy, whatever, listen to podcasts, figure that out. I need to get a cookbook. I need to buy a grain mill. Like you could start to make then that one item into a very long to-do list. And then you just go through one item at a time without stressing about it, without making it overwhelming. Go through one item at a time. And there are so many things I've learned in my kitchen. Making bread, making kombucha. I mean, in our house, I made homemade laundry detergent, homemade dishwasher detergent. There's so many things that you can learn. And a lot of people are like, Jami, how have you learned all these things? And it's easy to look and see, wow, she does all these things. And there's a lot of things I don't do. But that's because I have learned them over years and years and years and years. You haven't seen the years of progress. So when I got into a really good rhythm of making homemade laundry detergent and dishwasher detergent, I had the ingredients, I had the recipe memorized. I could load the dishwasher and go, oh, I ran out of dishwasher detergent. I got to mix a new batch and have it done in 5 minutes. I didn't have to think about it. Well, at the beginning, I had to do a ton of research and figure out dishwasher detergents and try out a few and go, oh, that one doesn't work. And what do I want to use? And research, okay, well, these recipes all use borax. Am I okay using borax for my dishwasher or not? And, you had to go through this process. But once you've gone through it, it becomes second nature. So I no longer have to think about, for the most part, the non-toxic items I buy because I know the dishwasher. I know the dish soap we like. I know the laundry detergent we like. I know these things. So it's super easy at that point. But like I said, now I'm researching makeup again. And I'm kind of back at square one of, okay, I got to find a new makeup company. And so I'm going through that process. I'm going, okay, what's my number one thing I need? Foundation and mascara. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to research companies there. I'm going to ask people, which ones do you like? And that is where I am going to start. So that's what you want to do. That's our goal, is to start with those baby steps, work backwards, make your list, and go from there. So if you do want some more step-by-step help, you can check out, from a Christian perspective, you can check out my new book, A Christian's Guide to Natural Living. It is in the bookstore for pre-order right now, findingjoybookstore.com. I am recording these podcasts ahead of time, but I'm pretty sure by the time this comes out, we're going to be nearing the very end of our pre-order time. So go check it out, findingjoybookstore.com, and you can see, the table of contents and see if it would be a good resource for you. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining me today for this podcast episode, and we'll see you guys back here next week for the next episode.